here's your weather on the 3s.
All right, everyone, let's do a quick run through of the tropics. We got Tropical Storm Karen over the weekend, which will now join the others in a list of names. We have a new depression out off the African coastline as well, most of which we don't really need to be too worried about in the immediate future. We do need to talk a little bit extra about Karen, though. Let's start with a quick run through of what the map looks like right now. The Atlantic Basin still staying plenty active as we get into the last week of September. You've got Tropical Storm Jerry, which looks like it's going to come up and around Bermuda. You've got Tropical Storm Karen, which has developed in the South Caribbean. That got started this weekend. That was yesterday that popped up. And then you've got Tropical Depression 13, which is coming off of the African coastline. Both 13 and Jerry going to be staying well away from the United States. Karen, a little too early to tell. Karen is going to be an interesting storm, I think, and it's going to be one of those storms that for the next week or two, we are probably going to talk about a lot. It's not very impressive right now. It is battling a lot of shear in trying to get going. It's trying to get that convection going around the center and get that center circulated. It'll have a chance to strengthen, I think, over the next couple of days. Today's going to be a bit of a struggle for Karen. We'll kind of see how things go after that. However, if you take a look at the track here, and we'll pull that track up, you can see that things do get interesting towards the end. So it stays fairly marginal, not a whole lot of intensity going between here and Puerto Rico. Should stay kind of a minor tropical storm. And then as it heads northwards, it's the time period towards the end of the week and the weekend, I think, that it's going to be the most important to pay attention because we're going to get a good idea of how things are going to go. This is when it looks like the steering currents are going to start to break down. Notice that between Thursday and Saturday, very little movement here until you start to get a gradual little turn towards the west. There's some model support for this as well. We're discussing that in an article that I'm working on that will be up on ktc.com. And I think as it starts this westward turn, we'll need to pay close attention to it. There's a big spread in the models, and that's part of what we'll be talking about in that article today. And I think in the immediate future, not too much to be concerned about. It is the long-term forecast, I think, with Karen that we will start to put it up on our radar. And again, that time period where once, twice a day, check in, see how things are looking, and then wait until the next day. You're not going to know everything all at once. You got Tropical Depression 13. This is fairly new system as well off the African coast. This is going to stay well out in the Atlantic. We'll have a chance to become a pretty strong hurricane here, maybe a Category 2 storm with winds up at about 110 miles an hour towards the weekend. But again, this is going to be a shipping lane storm. Mariners will pay attention to this. No threat to the continental United States. That is going to stay well off in the Atlantic Basin. Another reminder that September, typically early September, is the busiest time of year, but that does not mean that the tropics slows down a whole lot through the month of September, and it looks like this season is likely going to stay pretty busy even going into early parts of October as well. Stick with KTC both on air and then again online, where we'll go into a little bit greater detail on some of those model runs here. Look for that coming up sometime this morning. Guys.